Hi guys, welcome back to the Mission Empowered podcast with me, your host Emily. I hope you're all having a fabulous day, and as always, I hope it is about to get a little bit better. So this week's episode is a short one, as you can see, but that's because sometimes the most impactful things just need to be said and left as that for you to resonate on, and that's why this episode is quite short, is because today we are going to talk about one thing that without this one thing, no matter what plan, coach, accountability you have, even if it is absolutely everything you ever need to achieve your goal, if you don't have this one thing, you will never achieve that goal. And that one thing, girls, is the self-belief that you can achieve what you are working towards. Without self-belief that you can do it, like you genuinely 100% believe that you can, without that, and if you don't back yourself to believe that, you will not achieve it. And we're going to break down the science of why that is. Okay, so it isn't just about me saying that as a statement and you going, yeah, I'll crack on. Like, genuinely, there is, I wouldn't say all the time, but every time I look for a new podcast or a new book or something, there is more science backing behind the power of our mindset. So this podcast has actually come from the inspiration. I'm listening to an audiobook, Manifest by Roxy Nafusi at the moment. Now, I have already read books on manifestation, the power of the universe, the power of our minds. I already live and breathe this, and I believe it. I know that it works, but I do also still know there's a massive pushback because I talk about this with my one-to-one clients. I talk about this on the Fit and Sigs. I know there is still this stigma around it being woo-woo. And here's what you need to know just before you switch off if you think I'm not into this bollocks. It's not woo-woo. It is science. And as I've just said, every single day, there is more science backing the power of our mindset, backing the power of our thoughts becoming things. And this is why I want to talk about this on today's episode, is that you might be saying to yourself, I'm doing the work in the gym. I'm doing, let's talk about physique goals. I'm doing the work in the gym. I'm tracking my calories. I'm doing everything. I'm still not achieving goals, right? The likelihood of this being coming from your mindset is huge. That if you are subconsciously, well, take out the subconscious and the conscious, right? If you are just thinking overall, the dream, the goal that you've got is actually probably very unachievable. I'm probably not going to get there. I've tried for years and I always fail. Using this terminology, you are reaffirming to your subconscious, which is where 90% of our actions are driven from, that you're not going to achieve it. Okay? So we know that, breaking it down, we've got our conscious thoughts and our subconscious thoughts. Our conscious thoughts are what we are telling our brain, like, this is what we think, we're doing it consciously. Okay, I don't need to break down the meaning of subconscious and conscious, but our conscious thoughts are what we are saying to ourselves, like, with purpose. Our subconscious thoughts are like our beliefs that have been installed in us from years, from when we were younger, from our nurture versus nature days. Okay, they are our deep rooted beliefs, and sometimes it takes the work on the subconscious via the conscious to change that belief. So, for example, a really common one that I hear is, my mum's always been on a diet. She's always struggled with her weight. I take after my mum, or the women in my family are bigger, so I'm just destined to be like that. That is a subconscious thought. Okay, so if you go back to what I just said, is that 90% of our thoughts come from our subconscious, and that is your subconscious thought. Where do you think your actions are going to take you? Okay, our actions are derived from our thoughts. Our actions are dictated from our subconscious thoughts. Okay, so it isn't about you listening to this episode and just going, oh, I get it, I wake up tomorrow and all them subconscious thoughts have gone. It's not that. Okay, you need to start working on your conscious thoughts. Okay, what are you saying purposefully out loud to yourself? What are you saying in conversation? What are you thinking when you look in the mirror? What are you thinking when you wake up? What are you thinking about when you're in work? Let's say you're going for you really want to climb the career ladder, but have been in the same job for 5 years, and you're like, oh, I'm underqualified to take the opportunity. My boss is a bitch and never lets me go for progress. All of these conscious thoughts that you're thinking are just deepening that subconscious thought that you are never gonna climb the ladder in work. Okay, which then leaves your actions to be derived from that subconscious thought of you'll probably never do anything to change that, unless we have this awareness, what we're running through now, this wake up call of, hang on a minute, I don't have to be dictated by what I've always thought. Like, I can change that. And again, some other examples, like I said, with the work thing, it could be that you're never going to get to the top of the business ladder because of X, Y, and Z. Okay. From a physical aspect, are you telling yourself, I've always been fat? I always carry another one. I've always been fat, right? I've always struggled with my weight. The amount of times I hear that, ridiculous. If that's your subconscious thought, guess what you're always going to do? You're always going to struggle with your weight. Even if you have a period where you smash it and you drop the weight. If your subconscious thought is, I've always struggled with my weight, you will end up back there. You absolutely will. And maybe you're listening to this thinking, oh shit, yeah, I did. I went through a period of, let's use the Fit and Six, for example, where Em was telling me the habits. I was doing the habits. I dropped the weight. I went to the gym. I got it. But then I finished the Fit and Six. I've always struggled with my weight. I've always struggled with motivation. You are back at square one because you are already telling yourself that narrative of, I've struggled, I don't deserve this, I'm back here because it's just what happens to me. Okay. And again, it's people who, I hate, this is a common one, right? I hate eating healthy. I'd love to just eat shit all day. Okay, I've literally just had a conversation with this recently with someone. I'd love to just eat shit all day and be skinny. Okay, well, you're never going to break that cycle of feeling like that. And if you eat shit all day, if you're wishing on, I want to eat shit all day, yet you're 4 or 5 stone overweight, but you're wishing for an outcome that isn't going to come from that, your actions are never going to fully align with that goal, because your subconscious thought is, I don't want to eat a healthy diet. I just want to eat this way, not really trying the gym. I don't want to track my steps. Like, it's never going to align with what you want the outcome to be, because your subconscious is always going to be dictated by what's coming out of your mouth consciously. So here's how we switch it up, right? You have to start changing the conscious thoughts. And I've just got a little bit of a different, I've spoke about this on previous podcasts, but I've got a different point of view from it today. Okay. So conscious thoughts are things like what we're saying to our friends, what we're saying to our partner, what we say to ourselves, what we say, every part of every day, what's coming out of our mouth. Okay. These are affirmations. Affirmations 10 steps ahead of what you maybe think are what I, for example, do every morning. I have a list of about, I think it's 10 or 13 affirmations that I say every single morning and have done for years. Okay. They are about me as a person, about my character. 5 years ago, things like, I am financially free is one of my affirmations. 5 years ago, I wasn't, but I started saying it because I knew that I wanted that to be. I really felt like I deserved that, and I really wanted that to be part of my life. And I can happily say today, like, I am financially free. Like, I can pay my bills, I can do nice things, I can treat the people I love. Doesn't mean, I am a millionaire, which, by the way, is absolutely one of my affirmations. It doesn't mean I'm a millionaire yet, okay? Because financially free for every single person looks different, right? I'm trying to think of another one. I am successful. That is another one of my affirmations. Success looks different to everyone. And actually, what I found being postpartum is that success is different in each season of our life as well. But I feel successful. I am successful. I am. I'm living and breathing. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm a good person. They're my top 3, by the way. And they're the first ones I always start with. I'm a good mom. I'm a great coach. all of these things, I should just reel them off, shouldn't I? So mine are: I am happy, I am healthy, I'm a good person, I'm a great mum, I'm a great coach, I am driven, I am focused, I am successful, I am productive, I am proactive, I am financially free, I am a millionaire. They are mine. I promise you now, I live and breathe every single day out loud them affirmations, okay? Some of them affirmations might resonate with you. None of them might resonate with you, okay? It doesn't matter. They're not your affirmations, they're mine. They are what I believe, I deserve, and I want, and I am. And I promise you now, I've been doing them for years and I still do them every day. I then finish with my affirmations of: I am open, I am deserving, I am receiving of everything I desire. And I desire health, I desire wealth, and I desire happiness. That is relative to everyone. Health is relative to everyone. What you define as healthy. Wealth, I listened to a really good little Instagram reel just before by Robin Sharma, who basically said about the 8 pillars of wealth. I can't remember off the top of my head what they are, but again, how wealth is defined differently to everyone. So this episode today, it's not about telling you what you should want and need to say and believe, because I don't know that. But what I'm going to try and get you to take from this episode is that the first step to achieving any of that is you've got to believe that you can. You've got to believe that you're worthy of it. You've got to believe that that is a possibility for you to do that. With anything, whether it is a physique goal that you're trying to achieve, a fat loss goal, whether it is, you know, a career goal, a financial goal. Like I said to you, for some people, for me sitting here saying I'm going to be a millionaire, that's wild. They would be thinking, I never think that. Okay, well, that's fine. I do. Hands up. I put it out there to the universe. I believe it. In what way, shape, form? Not sure. Haven't narrowed it down that yet. But I put it out there. Like, your affirmations and thoughts, like, they can be as big and as wild as you want them to be, and they absolutely can come true, as long as before anything else you believe that they're going to come true. Honestly. And then from that belief stems your subconscious thoughts. And remember what I've said twice now, I'm going to say it again. 90% of our thoughts come from our subconscious thoughts. Okay. Our subconscious actions come from our subconscious thoughts. So I'm going to take this back into a physique goal, right? Is a really common thing that I see as a coach, is that people want the goal. And there's a massive thing here. They want the goal. They really want it. They want it more than anything. They just don't believe that they can. Or they don't even know they don't believe. They subconsciously tell themselves, I always fuck up. I can't break this X weight barrier. Okay. I always end up back at square one. I always, when I'm on it, I'm on it. When I'm off it, I'm off it. Have you said that? Because that is a very common one. And guess what? When you're on it, you'll be on it. And when you're off it, you'll be off it. And you'll always be in this fucking rat race of never achieving what you want. Okay. Right. Loop back to what I was saying now. So our thoughts become our actions. Okay. That's what I was saying about physique goal. So you can want it, but if you don't believe it, if you don't believe that you can achieve it, and if you don't believe that you can achieve it, you will always start implementing like self-sabotage actions. So for example, you might just let's take the goal of, I want to lose 2 stone. Okay. And you might be on the track to doing so, but then over weekend you are telling yourself, I can't say no to a chippy, or I really, really want that wine. I've worked all week, like I deserve it. But that then bottle of wine leads into the pack of chocolates and again pulls you away from achieving it. And that, you can't understand why you're doing that. But I guarantee you, it's coming from your subconscious belief that you cannot achieve your ultimate goal. And it normally comes from a place of, you're not good enough to achieve it. You're not worthy enough. Like, you don't deserve to achieve it. You haven't got the ability to achieve it. Like, they normally stem from these things, and these things normally stem from years prior, not just the present of that's what you believe. These subconscious thoughts have normally been drilled in over years, decades, maybe previous family members, maybe what you were told when you were younger. Okay, is that these subconscious thoughts and these actions that are developing from these subconscious thoughts aren't normally to do with how you feel on present day. They're normally built up from, like I said, your nurture versus nature days. So how do we change them then? So we have to start changing, and I sort of went off in this before, but I'm going to wrap this episode up with how we change these thoughts, how we change these actions. Our conscious thoughts have to change, because if 10%, if we're in control of 10% of our thoughts, our conscious thoughts, but our subconscious thoughts stem from our conscious thoughts, hopefully you're still with me, we only have power over 10% of the change, right? We have to give everything we possibly can into that 10%, which will eventually trickle into that 90% of our subconscious thoughts. Your subconscious will listen to your conscious, and eventually things will start to change. Not after listening to this podcast once or twice, okay? But it's what you do after listening to this episode every day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. That will lead into your subconscious. And when your subconscious starts to change, your actions start to change. And when your actions start to change, your outcome starts to change. But if you don't go back, like I said, and deal with the absolute square one of having self-belief and changing that narrative of you are not worthy, you are not deserving of what you want, your subconscious will never change. Therefore, your actions will never change. Therefore, the outcome will never change. It might go up and down, but it will always come back to that deep-rooted subconscious belief. Okay. I think the last thing I will say is that it is uncomfortable at the start. Like I said, you don't have to walk the streets and shout out and pat your chest and be like, here, like you can. It's very powerful. It's one of my favorite things to do. But it literally can be starting with the thought process of when you look in the mirror and go, ugh, stop. All you are doing is adding another penny into that subconscious thought of, I'm gross, I don't deserve it, I'm fat, so what's going to happen? That's your subconscious. Your actions are then always going to come back to that. So when you feel that, just think, right, I'm doing something to change how I feel because I deserve to feel good. That's that thought. Now, that for you might feel uncomfortable, and that's okay because it's a conscious thought. It's a thought you've got control over. But the more you say it, the less uncomfortable it becomes, the more effective it becomes on your subconscious. And again, with anything, make it applicable to your physique goals, make it applicable to relationship goals, work goals, whatever it is. That 10% that you have control of, you have to take the reins of, and you have to stop yourself going into that old negative trait that you've got and bring it back to present day, conscious. I'm going to stop myself saying that. I'm going to replace it with something positive, even if it feels uncomfortable. Like, I'm changing it. And like I said, don't expect it to work within days. It won't. You have to show up, and you have to believe that if you keep doing it, it will happen. Like I said, my affirmations are now probably knocking on 5 years strong every day. I still do them every day. And I absolutely love doing them every day. They make me feel good. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Like I said, I want this to be short. It's short enough. I hope that helped. I hope this was short, impactful, and if it was and helpful, please drop me a message on Instagram @_en.powered and let me know how it landed. And I hope you have a great day. And I hope it was, I just hope it was helpful. So guys, go and start having a bit of a convo with yourself about them 10% thoughts that you have got control of. Change the narrative, change your outcome, and have a great day. Speak to you soon.